Yeah, it's gonna get messy, but it's the only way. Oh, they're nice and gooey.
More delicious than the actual one.
It is not only one of my favorite Disney films of all time, it is one of my favorite films of all time.
Oh, wow.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Film and Flavor. I'm Zain Hassan.
Good evening, aficionados. I'm Ahmed Zayani.
Our film for today is The Princess and the Frog. Tiana was not the typical princess waiting for her Prince Charming as in the fairy tales. Actually, instead of that, she had a dream of opening her very own restaurant and worked so very hard for it, but finds herself on an unexpected adventure involving a frog, a prince, a wicked witch, a doctor, and a lot of jazz. Her signature dish was beignets, of course, the key to her earning enough money to finally buy the old sugar mill and to open her very own restaurant.
So beignets are a French-style donut-like dessert that has been adopted by the people of New Orleans as a traditional dessert. Beignets are different from donuts in that they are often lightly crispy, can be air puffed on the inside, and are traditionally topped with so much powdered sugar that you walk away practically covered in it from head to toe after just one bite. Now, Zain, we talked about this before we went on air, and you mentioned that Princess and the Frog was one of your favorite Disney films of all time.
It is not only one of my favorite Disney films of all time, it is one of my favorite films of all time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what about it appeals to you?
I think it's the music, first of all. It has very beautiful music. Tiana is a very good example of a strong woman. And she's just, I think the storyline as well, it's just a very nice storyline. The plot is amazing. I really like it. I enjoy watching that film. It's one of my comfort films.
You know, what appeals to me about the film is that it was Disney's attempt to go back to what made them famous in the sense that it's hand-drawn 2D animation.
It was actually it's the last hand-drawn 2D animation for a Disney princess.
Of course. And part of it is because at the time they had assigned John Lasseter as the head of Disney Animation. And when he took the position, he was very adamant in making 2D animation a focal point because he was originally the head of Pixar. And a lot of people blamed him and the advent of 3D technology for killing off 2D animation films. So the first thing he did when he took the position is that, okay, you know what, I'm gonna make a classic Disney princess film. But he did so in such a way that it spoke volumes to people who might not be fans of that medium itself.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, she's a princess who wants more than just have her knight in shining armor, right? She wants to start her own restaurant.
Typical fairy tale story, you know? She was working hard to open her own restaurant to make her father proud. I think that's just a very beautiful storyline.
Oh, it is. It's beautifully animated. The voice acting is superb. And like you said, the music, right?
Yes, and it is also very funny.
Oh,
I think it's one of the funniest 2D animated.
Who's your favorite character in the movie?
I really like Charlotte. I think
that's her best friend.
her
right?
best friend.
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Oh,
she's funny. She's cute. She's witty. I like her.
She is a ball of energy.
Yes, she is.
I'm torn between her and the crocodile. Is it Louis? Is that?
Louis. Yeah. I think he calls himself that because of Louis Armstrong.
Oh, I
famous
think so. Yeah,
jazz.
I think that's a
Yeah.
good connection. That's actually
Yeah.
a very good connection. I think it's a film that's catching more attention nowadays, maybe more so than when it came out. Because I do think at the time people were still wrapped in watching films that are 3D, that there is that depth. But with the advent of home video streaming, A lot of people, especially the younger folks, are getting the chance to rediscover The Princess and the Frog and fall in love with Tiana and all the other characters.
It is truly a beautiful film, honestly, and I'm surprised you didn't even like rank it as like one of your favorite Disney films.
What tipped you off on that?
You've told me that.
Yeah, I ruined the surprise, but yeah, I am a huge Disney fan.
Why doesn't Tiana or why doesn't The Princess and the Frog stand out particularly to you?
I mean, it does. I do think the movie is excellent. I might have not liked it as much when I first watched it, but it certainly grew on me. Because there is so much more to these characters. They're not your typical fairy tale story, but it's never meant to be that. And even the villain, he is such a cool character, you know?
He is so insanely scary.
He is. And that song, I've Got Friends on the Other Side, is just so iconic.
So iconic, but so scary and terrifying.
It is right up there for me, like with Frollo's Hellfire or Scar's song, Be Prepared from The Lion King.
Yeah, no, Frollo's was from
The Hunchback.
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
No, that one was terrifying. The voodoo one.
The voodoo one, yeah.
What's his name?
Dr. Facilier.
Dr.
Facilier.
Facilier, yeah, he was really terrifying. I mean, like the entire, like the whole point of him using Prince Naveen and like, you know, just the whole storyline was just so terrifying to me as a kid. I don't know why.
And you know, the movie has become so relevant in modern pop culture that even Disney decided to, when they reinvented the Splash Mountain attraction in their signature theme parks, to theme it after Tiana. So instead of Splash Mountain, now we have Tiana's Bayou.
Yeah, it's a really fantastic ride. I've seen clips of it online. It seems really cool.
It's something that I honestly want to race to either of the parks just to experience
I get it, yeah.
Because it just looks so cool and it's so immersive. The animatronics look amazing. The music is fantastic. My only gripe is that they didn't use Friends from the Other Side for the drop.
They didn't?
They didn't. They had an original song, which is still cool, but it just needed that one last push. You know?
Yeah. What's your favorite song off The Princess and the Frog?
Oh, definitely Friends on the Other Side. I always love the villain song. That's how I gravitate towards.
Don't you derogate or deride. You're in my world now, not your world. And I got friends on the other side. He's got friends on the other side. That's an echo, gentlemen. Just a little something we have here in Louisiana. A little parlor trick, don't worry.
Mine is probably my Belle Evangeline.
Okay.
It's when the dragonfly, I forgot his name, believes that his wife is a star.
Is a star? Oh my, I love that.
That's such a beautiful storyline, you know?
He is such a cool character, you know?
It's a really cool metaphor, actually, you know?
It is.
Because he loves her so much that he sees her as this like...
Shiny beacon.
Yes, exactly. It's a really nice song.
It is. It's so absolutely sweet.
Look how she lights up the sky. My belle Evangeline. That ain't no fun. So far.
Princess and the Frog was directed by Ron Clements and John Musker, who have a long history at Disney, right, Ahmed?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Zane. Ron Clements and John Musker have been behind some of Disney's most iconic films. We're talking about them being the masterminds behind The Little Mermaid and Aladdin, the two movies that have really changed the animation game in the late 80s and early 90s. What's really interesting about The Princess of the Frog, and something we highlighted earlier on, is that it marked the return of traditional 2D animation for Disney after a few years of focusing on CGI films like Toy Story and The Incredibles.
They are very brilliant, but this movie takes place in the 1920s, New Orleans, which is a rich cultural setting that really influenced the design of the characters, music, and even the food. And it's amazing to think about how much thought went into creating the city as a living character itself.
I have read that the animation team spent years researching New Orleans, traveling to this city to capture its essence. Everything from the architecture to the food, to the atmosphere of the French Quarter. The film's art director, Doug Chiang, even mentioned how they paid special attention to the lighting, using warm golden hue to reflect the spirit of the city. So, aficionados, did you know that beignets that we will try today date back to the time of ancient Rome, when people first began frying dough? It's a very classic, it's so delicious dish. I am really excited to try them.
And now, let us see how Chef Ali Yusuf will make the fluffy and very sweet beignet recipe, which will take us to the wonderful Disney movie, The Princess and the Frog, specifically the scene where Tiana is whipping up the deliciously appetizing beignets.
Hi everyone, it's me once again, Chef Ali Yusuf, in the Disney world. The animated desserts looks 10 times more delicious than the actual one. So I knew it, I have to take the challenge to recreate the peanuts in the movie Princess and the Frog. Before we start, let me show you my small amount of ingredients, starting with salt, powdered sugar, some people call it icing sugar, yeast, and then I have egg, sugar, flour. Starting with yeast, combine yeast, water, tablespoon of sugar, milk, and then I'm going to add the egg. We're going to whisk this for about 5 to 6 minutes. We're combining everything together, and then again we let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes for everything get melted and act together. Now we're back. We're going to keep stirring it. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, keep stirring it, then all-purpose flour, all of it, and then I'm going to add the rest of the sugar and salted butter. To put it on the mixer. And I think our dough is ready. Yep, it is ready. And gonna leave it, let it rest. I'm gonna cover it. I let it rest for an hour, and by then I'll clean the mess, and I will get back to you shortly. Dough is ready. Let's take it out, spread it, roll it, make it thin enough. You're free to do any size you want or any shape you want, but according to the movie, it's squares we're doing it. Then deep fry it. There is no timing for that. Make sure your oil is hot. Just deep fry it. When it's buff and come golden color, just take it out. And just put it on a kitchen towel so you can drain off the oil off it. When it's ready, just going to add honey. Let's just coat it with honey on top, and then we'll add on top of it the powdered sugar, or some people call it actually icing sugar. As I mentioned in the previous episodes, nothing harder in the kitchen. Brought it all the way from Disneyland to your kitchen. You could share this recipe with your family and friends, and also sit back, watch the movie with a smile. Have it with a coffee, nice and warm.
Welcome back. I've always wanted to try Tiana's real beignets, and it turns out that I don't have to go to New Orleans to get them. So thank you so much, Chef Ali.
No, I mean, Chef Ali gave us these forks and knives, but I think
we're gonna go in with
yes, we should dig deep with our hands.
The only appropriate way.
Yeah, it's gonna get messy, but
Yeah.
it's the only way. Yeah, let's do this. Ooh. Oh, they're nice and gooey.
Yeah.
I think I got sugar in my eye. Mmm. He added honey to these, didn't he? Hmm. Yeah. You know, I think that gives it, really, it gives it a nice kick.
Yeah. I think this is exactly how I imagined them tasting.
Mm. They're very fluffy and not heavy.
Yeah.
It's very messy.
But in a good way.
You know, I compare these to, another local dish in Jabari.
Yeah, they taste sort of similar, except this one has just honey glazed all over it.
Yeah, and I like that. I think
I completely understand why Big Daddy LaBeouf liked them so much.
who wouldn't like these?
Yeah, they're perfect.
I actually tried these at the Café du Monde in New Orleans, and these are just as appetizing.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So in comparison to the one in New Orleans?
Because the ones there depend heavily on the powdered sugar.
Oh.
So that can be an acquired taste, but adding the honey to this just takes it up to another level. I think the only thing that's missing for us here is a cup of coffee to dip these in.
Probably, yeah. Wait, do people eat this with coffee?
Yeah. They usually eat it with cafe au lait, which is basically coffee and milk.
I mean, they seem to go really well with coffee, but probably unsweetened coffee.
Now, a question that begs to be asked, because you and I come from different generations. So when I was introduced to Disney, at a point where 2D animation was everything. With you, you might have come to age with stuff like Toy Story, Cars, and whatnot.
Similar to Toy Story, Tangled, Cars, those kind of movies.
So going from CGI films to a 2D animated film, how was that experience for you?
Honestly, I mean, growing up, I was always familiar with 2D animation, but I guess Princess and the Frog just had a very strong emotional connection with it as a kid. I can't really describe to you in words what that movie used to do.
Daddy, look!
Where are you going?
Charlotte's fairy tale book said, if you make a wish on the evening
That
star...
is such a cool message, and I think it also differs, like me seeing it as a guy, you as a woman, you would have different perspectives on this. What I think was really resonating in this is that you saw that there is care to the older generation of Disney. Because it would have been very easy for them just to pursue CGI animation. But the fact that they went back to the story, to their roots, shows that they do care about their audience, about the people that grew up with Disney, and they want them to continue growing up with Disney. To the point that, whenever I see a CGI film, be it Frozen or Tango, for example, I always wonder how this would look as a 2D film. But the opposite is never true.
That's a cool way to think of it. I've never thought of it that way. I always looked at Frozen as Frozen and Tangled as Tangled. But with Princess and the Frog, I can't even imagine it being CGI because of how it fits so well as 2D animation. I think the way that even their movements
Yeah.
was different in this one. I don't know if you noticed this, but I pay attention to these things a lot. Like the way that they moved, the way that they spoke. I don't think you could pull the same things off in CGI for Princess and the Frog, especially.
I don't think so.
Just hand over that little old talisman of mine.
No, this is not right.
Would you like to see a Princess and the Frog?
I was gonna ask you about that right now, because there are a lot of Disney remakes
Yes.
going on right now.
Yeah.
We just had the Mufasa film.
Yeah.
Not that far off. Snow White is coming up.
Yeah.
Do you think Princess and the Frog would work as live action?
Honestly,
Mhm.
with full honesty, no.
No.
Yeah. Princess and the Frog is a standalone film. I
Mhm.
think it just works well the way that it is. And I think that no matter how many times you watch it, it will always have that same like authentic feel to it. And it will never change, at least not for me.
To me, I think what wouldn't work is that, and it's the same thing with films like Aladdin, for example, where when they translated to live action, a lot of things that people loved in those films, be it Abu or Iago, were either taken out of the film or presented in a different way that did not speak true to the source material. So I fear that what they would do with this film is the exact same thing, be it Louis or the Firefly. I think,
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think they would diminish their presence in the film,
Yeah.
or present them in a way that is just not. It doesn't do
A
them
little
justice.
too realistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like what they did with the
That
Lion
they
King.
lose their character, they
Yeah.
lose their spark.
I mean, 2D animation or animation in general does have that charm, and you're able to do in that medium things that you're not able or even supposed to do in a live action medium.
Yeah, animations bring unrealistic expectations in cinema. Like it's like you won't see a dragonfly talking and singing to a star in a live action film. You know, it just won't make sense.
And it just won't connect in the same way, won't hit the same way.
Yeah.
Case in point, if you watch the Pinocchio remake, having a Jiminy Cricket
Yeah.
as a president, it just feels odd seeing him in that form, you know?
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I'm happy with the way that The Princess and the Frog is. It's a very beautiful film as it is, and I just don't really look forward to them making a live action.
Neither do I.
Above me, yet I know her heart belongs to only me. Je t'adore,
I adore you.
je t'aime,
I love you.
Evangeline.
Just translating.
You're my queen of the night, so still, so bright. That someone as beautiful as she.
So, Zain, this brings us to the end of yet another wonderful episode.
Thank you so very much to our chef, Ali Yusuf, for preparing these wonderful beignets.
Yes, thank you so much, Chef Ali. And aficionados, you have got to eat and share this dessert with your family and friends. Personally, it's definitely felt like Tiana's spirit for food and community was right here in these beignets. Try this recipe and it'll bring some Disney magic to your kitchen. See you next time with another movie and another dish. Good night.